is really no joke, and it is really truly affecting a lot of federal government workers, to include myself and my husband. We are both federal government, but we had a meeting, and there were people asking, like, is there a letter or something that we can give to our creditors and, to our mortgage companies and to show that we won't be getting paid. And it really hit me like, damn, like, this is so real. Like, I'm literally a part of that community that is literally being affected by the government shutdown. So to those people and to all of my federal government workers, hang in there. It's going to get better. It has to get better. And this too shall pass.
I just have to reiterate the fact that this is real life. I think a lot of us that pay attention to what's going on in the world, we see news headlines, we become numb to things because everything seems so clickbaity. Everything's about outrage and to draw you in. And you sometimes think, you get caught up in your own world like I do, my own little world, and we forget that there are actual people being affected by stuff like this. Not all of us. I'll speak for myself. Some people are very in tune with situations like she's going through, where her and her husband both work for the federal government, which essentially means they have $0 coming into their household now. Assuming that they live based upon just their W-2 income. Is one thing to have one person be affected by it or laid off or furloughed and have the other person in the household still bringing income in to help offset the expenses and everyday costs. But to have both people in the household affected by this is quite extreme.
Giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahawashi by Hashem, Hakodash, and double honors to our apostles and elders, Eric Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So today being Friday, October the 3rd, the government shutdown went into effect the Tuesday, or was it Wednesday? It was this week. It was either the 1st or the 30th. And the difference with this layoff is most of the people that's going to be, I think they said that's not going to come back is going to be a lot. And they were saying like something about 750,000 people no longer working, like 750,000 people. That's a lot of people to not be working. And then they say if you are a essential, like air traffic control, some veteran places, then you have to go to work, but you have to work for free. Now, the last time that happened, that was under Trump's rule back in 2018, I think, and it was for like 35 days. That was as long as it went. So that's why now a lot of people are skeptical because they don't know when they can go back. They say it could be 7 days, but like I said, going off the history, who knows how long it could be. But nevertheless, it proves that we as believers of Yahweh Hashem Yahawashi, when the Lord gave us this faith and he basically told us that we don't have a safety net or some type of cushion other than Yahawashi, he's not kidding. He's not kidding. Because in fact, I had watched the video before this one. It was a video saying that how influencers are really broke or going broke. And there was this one Edomite woman where she said that she went from being an influencer to working 9 to 5 because she, in her sense, she got more security. She would use words like security. She used words like cushion, had more cushiony. She used words like safety net, things of that nature. And, history shows that when times are hard, people naturally are trying to secure the most assets or resources as they possibly can. Like a recession. A recession is when people hold back from spending. People are too afraid to spend. And when warnings and alarms like that go out, naturally people like to try to store up on goods and store up on money. And that's why this truth really is likened unto riches, because the scriptures tell us to store up our treasures in heaven. And everything that we do in this truth is simply so the Lord can see it, note it, and we can pray that He remembers us in the evil times to come, and that hopefully our good deeds and our alms and our faith and our work towards him and our faith towards him will reward us with security, safety, comfort, deliverance. So just like people naturally will want to stock up or grab this, grab that in emergencies, it's no different from us. The difference is we sending it all up top. We investing in our future self via our spiritual bank account, and we're banking on the fact that that's going to protect us or that's going to deliver us. So this truth is just like riches, because we're storing up, we're stocking up as well. The difference is the people who believe in Yahawashi are actually the most secure. I don't care if you're a millionaire in this society, 500,000. I don't care how rich you are in this society, but you probably think you're secure, but the snare is going to be, they're going to realize that they're really not. They're really not. Because in this society, right, why are people pretty afraid, especially with the government shutdown? Because the general consensus was that if you work, the closest you work towards the government, the closest you work towards the body, because that's what government's supposed to mean. But actually, government means to control your mind. Two words: govern, control, mentality, govern your mind. But if you look up government, it's going to say means the body. So people believe the closest that they are in the body or to the system, the more safer they are. So that's why people run to work for federal government, because they believe that if anything, I should be the most safe. No, you're not. And this should be an alarm really to all people. Really, the pandemic should have showed everybody that there's nothing secure. I don't care what kind of job you got or anything. Nothing's secure in this society. Nothing. And even with the shutdown, being the government, especially with the most people ever being sent home or laid off, and it hits people with reality, because it hits them like a ton of bricks, so to speak, because they never thought it could happen to them, because they work for the government, right? They're trying to position themselves in the most secure ways they possibly can. That's why a lot of people work for the government. And the snare is, okay, the mistake is that they get comfortable with that. They look at that as a safety net, as a cushion. But it's not. There's nothing on this side, in this tangible earth, in this current kingdom that we're living in. There is absolutely nothing secure. There is no such thing as a cushion. There is no real such thing as a safety net. Like, I looked up the definition. The second definition, the safety net, says a safeguard against possible hardship or adversities. And really, in this life, there is no true secure safety net that you can have. Okay, hard times are inevitable. The destruction is inevitable. We simply use and maneuver in this world to try to prepare ourselves, so to speak, for what's to come. But truly, there is no real safety net. Our only true safety net is Yahawashi. I tell people all the time, I say, I live my life on a thread, and that thread is Yahawashi. Because I want to read this first, but this is Sirach 29:21. I like to read this. It says, the chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame. Those are the things that we need, right? The Lord knows He created us. And the warning He's given is the fact that these things are about to come in doubt, because when any one of these things, food, water, housing, whatever it is, when any one of those things come into doubt, that's when people worry. That's when people panic. And people don't like to be concerned about these things. So people will make decisions trying to position themselves in the best way possible to secure themselves in the flesh, in this current life, to protect themselves from any and all adversity. And many will run to the government for work or for aid and believe that that's the most secure that they can be. And there's just possibly nothing that can happen. Well, Yahawashi has let it be known to our people specifically that this place is going down, and when the kingdom is being destroyed, everything crumbles, everything falls. So there's no true safety net that you can fall upon. And he wants that safety net for you to believe on to be Yahawashi. That's all you got. That's all we got is Yahawashi. All right, big brother looking out for us, bringing destruction to our enemies, and at the same time, praying on our behalf to the Father to pray and protect those that were given unto him, which is his hopeful elect. First Corinthians 7 and 31, because you got people, right, like people who work for banks, even in the medical field, you thinking like, okay, I'm secure. I mean, if anything, I work in the healthcare. No, you ain't secure, because first of all, you always got to remember they're gonna bring that microchip, and the first people that's gonna have to take it are what they call frontline workers. So there's gonna be the police, there's gonna be the military, the police, and people who work in the medical field. You got to do it because they're gonna want you to be leaders by example. That's just how I did it. That's how they roll. Even in the case of the pandemic, they did that, and also they land people off too. You would have never thought, but there are nurses and doctors getting laid off. You want to know why? Because of cuts. Because when Trump did that big beautiful bill, and he did those Medicaid cuts, those hospitals, because they're greedy as all hell, started to lay people off and make cuts. And the thing is, it didn't even go fully into effect yet. It doesn't go fully into effect to 2026. But because they foresee that they're going to lose money, really, they're not even really losing money. They're just not going to be making the same amount or as much, right? They just said, well, we're going to start cutting people now. You see? Why? Because they're greedy as all hell. And they want more money. And that's what it's all about. So as having medical professions, banks, and you know what's going to happen when they bring that microchip. They're going to say, we don't need you tellers anymore. But if you go into a bank teller now, they probably think that they are the most secure. Nothing's secure. Really, ain't nothing secure. 1 Corinthians 7 and 31, it says, and they that use this world, I got to read it above that. 29, it says, but this I say, brethren, the time is short, it remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoiced not, and they that buy as though they possessed not, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passes away. And we are in witnessing and experiencing the kingdom from passing. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing a decline of the kingdom. So that's why Paul is saying, because the times are so short, you really can't concern yourselves with the things that you might be concerned about or the flesh desires. It's because you got to really go off the time. There were times where the Lord took Ezekiel's wife, right? And he said, you can't weep neither, because it's symbolic. Because when King Nebuchadnezzar come and start slaying our people, you're going to be on a run that you're not going to have time to mourn over your family. You're not going to have time to mourn over your dog, or especially in the times that we're living in, you're just going to have to keep moving. So the scripture is telling you how to prepare your mind. You got to get your mind right. Why? Because of the times you're living in. You're living in an age, a eon, which means an age of time. You're living in the passing of an age from one time to the next, to the kingdom. In the NLT on that verse 31, those who use the things of this world should not become attached to them, for the world as we know it will soon pass away, right? So you look at everything as temporal. That's the best you can do. Whatever job you get, whatever move you make, the scriptures is telling you, you have to look at everything temporal. That's the best you can do. That's all you can do, because fact of the matter is, any one of us, even if you're doing so-called good, right? Any one of us can just be one medical emergency away from being back in the hole. maybe one car accident, maybe you just lose your car get totaled. You know, you're like, dang, man, I just paid that car off. I was about to do good. That happened to a friend of mine. His car started to break down and he got real upset. He's like, that car was supposed to last me for 10 years. I said, bro, you can't never look at a car and expect it to last. Like, this is going to be my vehicle for 10 years. I said, you're on the road with other people. You know, me personally, I done got ridden so many times. I'm paranoid. But so I know cars are just, they come and go. Cause you got to ride on the road with other people. Ain't no you can't. I can control what I do, but you can't control what other people do. You know. So you could just pay that thing car off, happy or rejoice, bam, total. Now you got to get another one. Anything like that can happen, right? We're all just one setback away. Anything to be try to be put back in the hole, because that's how the system designed anyway. You could be doing really good. You could be trying your hardest to get out of debt, walk clean or whatever. But all it takes is something outside of your power that can happen. And then you're just back in the hole again. That's how the system's designed any dang way. They don't want you to be free. And that's all of us. So what's happening to these people is the same that can happen to any one of us, whatever your situation is. So you use the things of this world, but you don't abuse it. And what we say regarding, because you know another thing that's being taken away is the Section 8. Section 8 food stamps, all these things. And guess who's the main one wailing and complaining about it? Women, especially so-called black women. Now, those systems put in place, you're supposed to use those systems, but you're not supposed to, how do you say, abuse it. You shouldn't put your trust in it and say, this is my life. I'm never going to have to worry about working or anything because I'll just rely on Section 8 government assistance. That's it. And that's the mistake. And the other mistake is that the women were proud. As Isaiah 36:6 says, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. You understand? NLT on that. On Egypt? If you lean on Egypt, it will be like a reed that splinters beneath your weight and pierces your hand. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, is completely unreliable. And today, Pharaoh, which is king of Egypt, because America is known as Egypt, is a so-called white man. Okay? He's Pharaoh. He's the king of Babylon. He's the king of Tyre. Right? Nothing that he offers is going to be forever or guaranteed or anything. So when our women was on that government assistance, right? It's one thing to be on it. It's another thing to brag and to look down upon your own men because you're on it. And say, oh, niggas ain't shit. I'm independent. I don't need no man, all this. And your reasoning is because you have Esau Edom, the so-called white man, to play the role as your husband, as your provisionary, if that's a word, the one to provide you. That's it. And that's why, and you snuff your nose at Adam talking all this shit. And that's why the men are mocking you in these days, because you were proud. You shouldn't have been proud, right? Because now you're here, he's taking it all away. And the Lord said he was going to do that. Isaiah 3 says, for behold, the Lord Yahweh of hosts doeth take away from Jerusalem, our people, and from Judah, the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread, and the whole stay of water. In NLT, the Lord heavens of armies will take away from Jerusalem and Judah everything they depend on, every bit of bread and every drop of water. And we just read that those are the chief things for life: bread, stay, and water. The support, the staff is the support. And if the Lord said, I'm taking that away, what happens when any one of those are in jeopardy or doubt? People panic, people worry. So for the women, right, who were on the Section 8 and they starting to take that away, all these things are taken away, and they never thought and they never considered that they can't rely on those. They just got proud and broke the law, played the harlot, living their best life with no care in the world because they just never thought that their life would be interrupted. They just always thought that that vintage would come in. Guess what we're saying? Thou foolish woman above all other. Thou trustest in the serpent? Knowest thou not that this man is still the serpent? That's what you trusted in it. That's the mistake. It's one thing to use it. Trusting in it is another thing. So if you use it, you should just say, look, the Lord bless me to get through this for right now, but I know that he can come take this away at any time. So I need to position myself in a position to where I can bounce back, because all it takes, I'm too dependent on this. All it takes for him to take it away, then what I'm going to do. See, that didn't go through a lot of our people's minds. Just like people who got government jobs. They thinking when they hear about layoffs and all these things, they're saying, well, it ain't like it's going to happen to us. We good. You know, this job is my cushion. It's my safety net. I'm working for the government. And as you can see, it doesn't matter who you work for, where you at in a society. You are liable and susceptible to lose. Ain't nothing in this world guaranteed, especially now more than ever. Our only safety net is Yahawashi. That's all we got. And I ain't no different from you. You ain't no different from me. Because in the end, all we gonna have is faith. You say, look, I believe in Yahawashi Yahawashi. Do you? Or you believe in Yahawashi Yahawashi? Okay, good. We're in the same boat. Because that's all we gonna have. That's all we gonna have. Psalms chapter 2, verse 12. It says, kiss the son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Our trust is in Yahawashi Yahawashi. That's all we got. Everything in the world, everything that we do, we maneuver, how we operate, what we use, because we use the wisdom of foresight. Now, I don't think that's a good idea because, the Lord got this coming, but, I'm going to go ahead and work on this, though. And, Lord willing, I prevail because I already know this place about to fall. So if that fails, bam, I go over here, bam, I go over there. That's how the Lord told us to operate and maneuver. You use the world, don't abuse it. They that buy as if they will not sell. They that sell as if they will never see it again. They that marry as if they won't have children. And they that are unmarried as the widowers, meaning they won't marry again. They that build a house as if they won't occupy it, and etc. They that run a business as if you will reap no profit by it. So you're moving and you just always got your head on the swivel looking, and you say, okay, yep, any day now the Lord can shut this place down. And when he shuts it down, you got to be willing to drop everything. You got to be willing to cut your losses. Just like in Egypt when we did the Passover. You eat it in haste, keep your shoes on your feet, because when you hear the sound, which was the Egyptians trying to kick us out, you gotta go, move in haste. That's how we supposed to live. That's literally how the scripture tells us how we live right now. Not trying to find the ultimate safety net to protect ourselves, because everything's gonna be in doubt. Everything eventually is gonna come to an end. When they bring the microchip and they hide behind the digital wall, everything hides behind the digital wall. Eventually, so you like, okay, I work for the hospital, so I'm good. You might last a little longer, but they're going to bring that chip that you're going to be the first one to be offered that chip. You understand? Whatever you got going on. Hey, look, cause you got a lot of people, right? I mean, I look at everything, I'm a tradesman. So you got a lot of people who say all the time, like, when all else fails, go make your own money. But they don't even realize that you still relying on your department stores. You still relying on Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards. What happens when that shuts down? Then what? You can't run a carpentry store. You can't run that plumbing business. You know, you can't run that whatever you got going on if you can't get supplies. And the Lord, uh, you know, those department stores like Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, and etc. That's like the last stand. When the Lord goes after them, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So you got a lot of people who just, but they don't realize that they still just dependent on being able to buy parts. What happens when you can't buy parts? See, I look at all those things, and ain't nothing guaranteed. You understand? To continue to last forever, it could all be up in the air just as quick. So when we maneuver, it's all temporal. We're just trying to get by up until eventually they bring that chip, and everything's hide behind the digital wall. And guess what? We all gonna be in the same boat. All we gonna have is our riches in Yahawashi, our faith. That's all we gonna have. Psalms 84, verse 11. For the Lord Yahweh is a sun and shield. The Lord Yahweh will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly. O Lord Yahweh of hosts, blessed is the man that trusts in thee. Right? Not blessed is the man that's the most skillful worker. Not blessed is the man that has the most riches. Blessed him that trusts in him. Isaiah 50 and 10. Who is among you that feareth the Lord Yahweh, that obeyeth the voice of his servant, that walketh in darkness and have no light? Let him trust in the name of the Lord Yahweh and stay upon his God. Blessed are they, you know. Jeremiah 17:7. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord Yahweh, and whose hope is the Lord Yahweh is. That's all our hope is. You know, the people in the world, they're concerned about everything. And the reason why it hits them hardest is because they weren't expecting it. Because what is it that everybody's ultimately seeking? Security. They're seeking a rest. Okay. Our people are seeking a rest, and they want America to be that rest. So they're following the rules. They're doing everything that's commanded of them. They're trying to position themselves in the best way possible to obtain that rest. They got the house or whatever it is. And the reason it hits hard is because that not only did they get the house, but they was planning that they picked the house because of the school district, because they thinking about the kids and the future of the kids, and they got this many rooms because they're thinking about the kids that ain't here yet, the future kids, this, and they got the college thing figured out, they got the future figured out, they got their budget all that figured out, and by this year we should do this, by this year this will be paid out, all these things. But then here comes a shutdown, and now you got kicked to the curb, and all those future visions and dreams, you just don't even, you can't even, it hurts more because you thought that far, right? And now you got to make sacrifices. Whereas if you don't think like that, and you think in the span of the scriptures and the prophecy, that's what's really gonna save you. It's this knowledge. That's really salvation. When the scriptures talk about walking as a pilgrim, and he gives you the mindset to have, that is truly salvation, man. That is truly salvation, because it's all up here, all up in your mind, your wits. You see? Micah 2 and 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction. So this isn't your rest. This isn't our rest. And our people are seeking a rest. But this isn't it. And that's what we're trying to tell our people. This ain't it. This ain't it. We just trust that the Lord says, as he says in Isaiah 65, verse 12, therefore will I number you to the sword, the sinners, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear. but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that therein I delighteth not. Therefore thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. So the Lord said He's going to protect His servants. He said they're going to be good. And that's all that we have to go off of. We got our faith in Yahawashi. Let the world pass away. We're witnessing this world pass away. And yeah, we're going to be affected by it. We just pray the Lord come through for us and pivot us to the next stage, or the next route, or the next chapter, whatever it is He got going. But we see it all coming to an end. So nah, man, there is no safety net in this world. Okay, everything we got is all temporal. Even if you can position yourself well all the way up to that chip, that's what's up. I mean, you're doing good. But even then, you're gonna have to cut your losses there, because when they make everything required by the microchip, and they take everything and put it behind the digital wall, and they do away with cash, you gotta remember the devil. Okay, he's gonna eliminate all options to leave you with only one option. So in the end, we all are gonna hit that same destination, right? Where there's no way to do anything unless you got that chip. So we just use this world to get to that point. And then after that, it's all up to faith. That's all we got, man. That's all we're going to have, man. Look, Yahawashi, Yahweh Shem Yahshai is our only safety net. With that, shalom.